Right then, gents, this is film number 4 in our tasting series of the Springbank Millennium Collection. A very limited, very sought after series of bottlings from Springbank to celebrate the turn of the millennium, youngest expression 25-year-old, building up to 50 years old. This one...
Five years each one.
Yeah, 5 years worth intervals, if you like. So this one, I'd say, is the 40-year-old, which interestingly is lighter in colour than both the 35 and the 30, which perhaps, obviously we know it's older, so perhaps suggests less active casks, or different types of cask.
Which might be a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah, our concern with the really dark ones was that we were losing some of that distillery
Cask
character.
dominance.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I
Yeah.
also think sometimes with a very active cask and very old whiskey, that's when we start to talk about whiskey being overcooked and getting a bit dull on the palate.
Absolutely.
So I'm actually I'm almost encouraged by this lightly colour here for a 40-year-old Springbank, which also, I mean, how fantastic is
I know,
that?
it's nuts as well. I think the slightly kind of alarming thing for me is the strength, which is 40.1%. So obviously for whiskey, the legal minimum is 40%. You know, whiskies of this calibre, they're not going to be watered down. So we can make the fairly safe assumption.
But the fact that it's
natural
40.1 would suggest that this is the cask strength,
Straight from the cask,
natural strength.
Which for me suggests that they were monitoring this cask and thought,
No,
oh dear.
Well, they got it just in time.
Before we know it, this is going to be 39.9 and no longer whiskey.
But it should still have all those fatty acids. It's not going to be chill filtered in any way. So it should be quite interesting.
One other theory is, this doesn't state that it's a single cask. So could it be that perhaps they had 2 casks, 40 years old, one had dropped to
below 40,
38%, and there's another one that's 43. We thought, let's vat them together, let's do just enough to get it above that 40%.
I think it is something that we're hearing that is happening a lot more often now with old whiskey. So, it's an interesting theory.
Yeah, I think there's a few tricks of the trade you can do to bump up the age. I've heard of stories of casks being decanted and pure new make spirit being poured into the cask. Obviously, it soaks up like a sponge. And when you pour the whiskey in, and as if by magic, it's gone up.
No, I haven't heard of that.
5%. I think it's charging a cask.
Yeah.
Charging.
Yeah, which is great.
I've heard from bottlers recently, you know, especially independent bottlers, the kind of demand for casks, people buying a cask at whatever strength it was gauged at and it arriving below 40%.
Yeah. We
were talking about this, can you imagine, I mean, the real disaster with again, spirit around 40 years old, you know, it being gauged at 42% and turning up at 39.8.
Yeah, I've spent a fortune on a cask of whiskey and you've not sent me a cask of whiskey.
But this happens, you know, that it really does happen. So, let's crack this open and see what we think. Now,
do what you can.
We had a very unsuccessful.
All the other corks are broken.
And as predicted, it's really just the top of this one. It's come off. It's just frustrating.
And it really is an object lesson in storing whiskey standing up.
Yes.
Yeah, we bought this series, as we said, on an auction.
Yeah, which is always a risk because, you know, big auction houses can't provide much provenance in terms of how it's they can say it's being stored in impeccable conditions, but they would say that. They're trying to,
of course,
sell a product.
I've done okay there. I feel like I'm quite happy with that.
Well done, very good.
Okay. Charlie, I'll let you decant, so I'll get rid of this.
Charlie? Yeah.
Now then.
Quite fun having these little bottles actually. This set that we're working our way through is actually one of only 50 sets,
which is amazing,
fun, of the 20CL series. That shouldn't affect the liquid in any way.
Beautifully presented.
Yeah. Charlie, I see you're warming your glass. This is going to help it open up a little bit. Is that right?
Yeah, they're all quite cold, these bottles.
So the nose on this is the most left field from what we've had so far. Really different.
This again is vegetal, isn't it? And it's also slightly smoky. Char.
which is quite encouraging.
This is Campbelltown,
Yeah.
grubby
Yeah.
Campbelltown.
Which is a relief, because whiskies of this age can often just taste like oak
Yeah,
and not a lot else.
yeah.
So to have some
Well, the nose is
distillery
really
DNA.
encouraging.
And I've got some caramel here. And there is a little bit of, there's not a nose prickle, but there is something. It's not completely flat by
Yeah.
any means, which is
Yeah,
which
for
is very encouraging.
40.1%, that is a relief.
Oh, this is quite interesting. In fact, it's very faintly sooty.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the nose of this. Yeah, there is a slight liveliness around it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Laurie?
It's great, yeah. I mean, it's such a refreshing change from the previous two, which
think
we're
because-
starting to become a little bit tannic and a little bit.
I've got a really strange, almost
leathery.
kind of like lemon sponge. There's a really fun, like slight sweet note I'm getting on the nose, which is just, I think it's because we've had two reasonably tannic, heavy, rich, indulgent expressions, but it does have the Campbelltown funk, it does have the peat. We'll have a little go on the palate.
The Campbelltown funk, I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, so that's that. It's great in the mouth. It really is. It's got smoke. So 40.
40 years old, 40%.
So when was it distilled?
It would have been 1960, give
Yeah.
or take a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is quite. That's proper Springbank, isn't it?
Yeah, welcome back to,
It really
the
is.
distillery
Really
character.
is.
I'm delighted with that on the palate.
And it works at the strength for me as well.
Delightful.
Does.
Yeah, it doesn't feel watery. It doesn't feel thin.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, my concern is to feel like you taste, what if? Just if only they managed to keep the strength.
It is a
up.
little bit thin in the mouthfeel,
okay.
but it's got a lovely balance. It's got a sweetness, and then saltiness, as you would hope for, and then a smokiness, and some pepper in the finish. So very, very nice whiskey. Very nice whiskey.
And I thought I was going to miss that kind of pepper, kind of slight prickle, but which I enjoy. Yeah, that is a real 40-year-old Springbank. That is
Tastes so different to the previous ones.
100%.
But yeah, what do you think? Favourite so far?
I think this and the 25 are far more in common, maybe than the 30 and the 35. I think this is. I'm impressed. As the oldest Springbank I've had that has had that really distinctive Springbank character on the palate. Yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it.
I like the 30. I must
Yeah.
say.
A
Yeah.
little bit heavier, richer.
Yeah.
And the peat really hadn't dissipated in that whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was quite dirty and indulgent.
Yeah, I think the four we've had, there's not been a bad one.
No.
I think the 35 was nice. I quite enjoyed it, but it maybe didn't have all the hallmarks.
I thought the 25 was slightly disappointing.
Okay. Yeah.
But otherwise they've all been good, and this is even at the low strength.
I love the nose of
very,
this.
Very good.
There is sweetness on the nose that attracts me as well.
Yeah, and in the mouth as well.
What a pleasure.
What a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah, let's leave a little bit in the glass for later on.
I know.
Yep.
I'd say, for me, potentially best so far.
Yeah.
I think
Really,
so.
really nice. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Bevvy content. We want to hear what you think, your best whiskey experiences, the whiskies you want us to try. It's a really exciting journey we're on, so make sure to join us. Download the Bevvy app on Google Play and App Store to keep track of your whiskey journey, connect with your whiskey friends, keep track of your favourites, anything you could ever want to do with whiskey, all in one place. It's the definitive whiskey companion.